Well, hello there. Alberic, don't even try anything. I'm watching you. Don't? Good. Well then, now that's out of the way. For today's video, the challenge is simple. Cav only Bretonia, the man for the job, Alberic de Bordelot. Very hard campaign, normal battle difficulty. Without further ado, let's get right on with it. We start our campaign in what looks to be modern-day Brazil. We immediately ignore the starting army and start moving towards the capital city of this province. Obviously, I discard the units that I cannot use and recruit some horse archers. Important technology, more on that later. Next turn, I recruit another lord for a second army. Following that, Alberic gets a settlement that I won't try to pronounce, and later on he starts moving to another settlement that I won't try to pronounce, which he also takes very easily. The second army will move towards Sahutek, while Arberic will force march towards the capital. While the second army is attacking the settlement garrison, I want to talk about the campaign itself. This campaign has a very difficult start because you're surrounded by enemies like Skulltaker, Marcus Wolfhard, the Mask of Slanesh, and Luthor Harkon. So what you saw on the first turns was the best course of action I could have taken to secure the starting province and have a decent foothold on where to work from. That is why the order was so specific. As for the technology that I took, you need to take this, because if you don't, Marcus will declare war on you on turn 7, 8 or 9 and make the campaign way harder than it's supposed to be. As for the fight, I did lose it, because the army wasn't good enough. Low tier cav of Bretonia is kind of garbage, but it doesn't matter. I destroy the starting army that I ignored earlier, where the second army gets the final settlement with a bit of help. I disband the second army to save some money, and over the end turn, the Mask of Slanesh declares war on me. I wasn't expecting that, so I re-recruit another army and send Alberic to the east. Now, I knew that Skulltaker will eventually declare war on me, so I try to get the jump on him while making some money in the meantime. One of Skulltaker's armies attacked during the end turn, so now it's another good time to talk about the units that we can use and Bretonia as a faction. You see, Bretonia has these things called vows for legendary lords and heroes, which are essentially mini quests you can do throughout the campaign. These vows give stat boosts in addition to huge upkeep reduction for the knight units, which are the only units we can actually use. That is another reason why this campaign is so hard, or rather slow, because not all lords start with those vows unlocked. You have to get enough chivalry for that, which makes it so you cannot field more than one army for the starting phase of the campaign. You could try to go with full mounted yeoman units and multiple armies, but they are on the low side in terms of power, so I don't know how successful that strategy will be. Having said that, what can you actually do to win this campaign? Honestly, nothing. You need those high tier units, tier 4 and tier 5 cav, because that's where the actual strength of Bretonia lies. And until you get to those units, you just skip turns, slowly building up your economy, slowly building up your settlements, while trying to not cause many wars to happen, like actively declaring war on people. Back to the fight. In this case, I did actually have an active front line that I could use for my hammer and anvil tactics, which make the fight a lot easier. Although it did come down to the wire, and I had to do a lot of cycle charging towards the end to finish off whatever unit was remaining. I eventually did get the victory, and I moved on with the campaign. What followed was another manual fight with the remaining of that army, and after that Alberic moved on to capture two more settlements from Skulltaker. A problem appeared on the end turn while this goblin declared war on me, and since Alberic is busy Finishing off Skulltaker's territory, I tried to defend by recruiting another lord. They did attack over the end turn in a fight that I manually fought, but there wasn't much to show. Over the end turn they did catch Alberic in underway interception, but it was an easy auto-resolve. And here we have probably one of the biggest mistakes I would have made in this campaign. By this time Alberic made his way to the east to finish off the goblins. I did trade a settlement for some quick cash, and here is Alberic taking more of the goblin territory. When this was happening, I saw a Mask of Slanesh army close to my borders, so I tried to defend it, but it wasn't looking good. Easy defeat. This time around, I did remember that my legendary lord has actually quest battles to do, so let's do that for a change. While that is happening on the background, let me talk a bit about the knight units. As you start off, you have access to mounted yeomen, but you don't want to use those, you want to take better options. Those are Knights Errant and Knights of the Realm for anti-infantry and anti-large respectively. After that, every single knight unit you unlock is a direct upgrade to what you previously had. For example, Questing Knights is the new anti-infantry, Grail Knights is the new anti-large. And as we move up to the tiers, on the final tier you have the big hitters, which are Royal Hippogriff Knights, a very strong unit, Grail Guardians, a very tanky unit, and as honorable mentions, Pegasus Knights and Royal Pegasus Knights, which I did try to use, but I didn't have much success in doing so because they are a bit squishy for the playstyle of this campaign, so I didn't recruit many. And oh, would you look at that? The fight is over, so let's get that trident and move on with the campaign. Following that, Alberic does finish off that goblin faction, which I now realize that is an orc faction, and I recruit yet another army. This time around is to defend against a rebellion. Pulling in the settlement garrison, it's an easy auto-resolve victory. Sadly, that army doesn't last long because it gets pulled into a fight with Slanesh. I give to Alberic some much needed upgrades to his units, and over the end turn, the Mask of Slanesh takes one of my settlements. As if that wasn't enough, this rogue army decides to declare war on me, and since they're in the middle of my territory, that means a lot of defeats for me. I do try to catch the Mask of Slanesh off guard with an ambush. Well, joke's on me. They catch me. Nice 80% chance. Now give me that auto-resolve. I retake the settlement that I stole from me some turns ago, and the rogue armies keep bullying and sacking my territories. Wait, close victory? What? Quick pause from everything. I did use heroes as field agents throughout this campaign, and I will talk about it later. Over the past few turns I have moved Alberic down to where the rogue armies were, so he's gonna go on a killing spree to try to eradicate them. Wait, what's that? Ambush? I hit the 80%? No way. Well, we have a bunch of horses, they have a bunch of random troops. You know how it is, it's an ambush fight, we're gonna envelop them from all sides, hit the fast forward and completely slaughter them. A couple of minutes later, they start breaking, and the fight is ours. Alberic will keep chasing them around for the next turns, and as that was happening, I saw a random army from the lizard men. Now, I didn't declare war on them, and they didn't declare war on me, so it was probably our old friend Marcus that dragged us into this war. Remember when I said that it was a mistake to make military alliances? Yeah. So, the way that this game works is when you're military allies with someone, they will drag you into their fights, and if you don't enter, I assume they will break the alliance and they will declare war on you. So, if you ever want to make a military alliance with someone, first check to see what factions they're at war with and make sure that it won't be a disadvantage to you, and then make the deal. As for the fight, it's obviously a siege fight, which I absolutely hate. Now the enemy did split their forces into 3 groups, so I basically had to do the same. I have built walls for all my settlements, or I tried to build walls for all my settlements, so it was beneficial to try and hold the walls. That way the towers would keep firing and I would take some free damage and they would take heavy losses. As for the cavalry, I kept it in the middle and supported as needed, either on the left or on the right. And with the emergency lord, which I obviously recruited, I put him up against their own lord. All in all, it wasn't a hard fight or anything, but still, this type of content I really hate, and this particular map has a very bad layout. Anyways, we take the victory and keep on going. Alberic's killing spree will be soon over as he finishes off the final rogue army, and with their faction destroyed, I'm gonna send him up north to deal with the lizardmen. At least that was the plan until this happened on the end turn. I don't know how to explain this because I don't know the mechanics behind it. I did know that a rebellion would happen on that province, but I haven't seen the rebellion take the settlement instantly without a fight. Anyhow, I lose that specific settlement for the 5th time this campaign, and I do trade a settlement with Korok for an alliance because he's getting pretty strong and I think he's gonna be a very good ally to have. Also, I get a shit ton of money for that. By the way, those were the settlements that were pretty much sucked to the ground back to tier 1, so I wasn't gonna be able to rebuild them. Alberic did make his way up north, and he gets caught in a fight over the end turn. So now it's the perfect time to talk about the agents. On my previous campaign I didn't use them at all, but for this campaign I wanted to make things different and I needed all the help I could get. So I recruited a couple of them just to test them out. The paladins specialize in assassinations and assaulting units and whatnot, and the damsels were used for blocking armies, stealing technology to make my research faster. Their actions had various degrees of success. Most likely than not they actually failed instead of succeeding. I could say that they did make a difference, but not that big of a difference. My advice would be, if you can afford them and you have the unit capacity, definitely go for them. After that fight I retake the settlement for the millionth time, and on the end turn I get attacked again on the same settlement, but this time around I have some reinforcements in the name of Marcus, so I'm gonna take the easy auto-resolve. I replenish some troops in Alberic's army in preparation for him going against the lizardmen. Now I should mention that on this specific campaign, Luthor to our east, which has been previously a very big issue in all my testing, did get destroyed by Gorok and he didn't declare war on me, which made things way easier than I was expecting. Now for something completely different. During the campaign at some point I got the quest to save Kotrek and Felix. These are 2 special heroes that you can get while playing certain campaigns like Bretonia, Dwarfs and Empire, I think. They are pretty good in their respective roles and they will be great additions to one of my armies. As for the fight, it wasn't anything special, we just had to kill 3 Slanesh lords, and since we had a lot of cavalry and they were spread out for some reason, it was just a matter of time until we ran them down and eventually end the fight. A little bit about the past of these two heroes. They were a duo of adventurers, with Gotrek being a slayer seeking for his death in fight, with Felix being his sworn companion, who apparently took an oath or made an oath in Aldorf to record the adventures of Gotrek and eventually his death. They traveled throughout the Warhammer world, battling demons, Skaven, orcs, goblins, uncovering cults, and even sinking a black ark from the Dark Elves. All of their adventures can be found in some actual books that they were released, and there are a lot of them, I mean a lot. So if you're interested to know about what kind of shenanigans this duo went into, also if you want to know a lot about the lore of the game and the world and everything, you should definitely try to find the books. I know I wanted to read them eventually, so when I have the opportunity I will actually buy the books or read them online or whatnot. But enough of that. About the fight, we are on the last two remaining lords. Those lords were surprisingly elusive, so I had to run around a bit longer than I expected, and the fight lasted a bit longer. In the end it wasn't anything difficult, and we got both the heroes. Following that, Alberic takes one more settlement from the Mask of Slanesh, and that sack value was looking too juicy to just ignore, so I first sacked it and then occupied, which was probably not a good idea, but we are not here for the perfect gameplay, so it's fine. More people were knocking on my doorstep, so it's time for another emergency army. This time it was from Marcus Wolfhard. Now, I don't actually remember when he declared war on me, it just happened. Good thing that his first two armies weren't strong enough to take our settlement, so I took the easy auto-resolve hoping everything was over, but on the end turn they attacked again. This time though, I'm not bothered, because I have a secret weapon. Those laser beams. Remember when I said that I upgraded the walls on my settlements? This is the result. We are shooting pure sunlight on these guys. Now imagine this. You are an Empire soldier running around the jungle trying to capture what appears to be a weekend settlement, but instead of walls, they have towers that shoot projectiles that may or may not be considered war crimes. It's safe to say they didn't have a good time on this one. Before I forget, let me talk about the technologies that I went for this campaign. Aside from the first two technologies at the start, I just clicked whatever was gonna give a boost to my knights and went for that. The campaign did last way longer than I expected, so I pretty much finished the entire technology tree. What I should say is, don't do what I did. If you give this campaign a go, order of technologies is very important. After having finished this campaign, I realized that the technologies that give chivalry, it's on the top left of the technology tree, should be a priority, alongside the technology that gives bonuses while fighting against demons, and then you can go for everything else. Alberic did make his way over to the final settlement from the Mask of Slanesh, and here I take care of their final army as well. Another enemy destroyed. The second army, which I promise I will keep this time around, because I will need it for later, took care of one of Marcus' settlements and then lost on his capital city. Meanwhile, Alberic made his way to the lizard territory and he started attacking them. It was around this time where I started getting really tired of the campaign and I just wanted to finish things and move on with another video. While we take the auto-resolve on Mazdamondi and the next battle is about to begin, I should finish up what I haven't talked about yet, which is the skills for my legendary lords and heroes. I tried to do the same as I did with the vampire counts, going for the blue line first, followed by the red line, but that didn't seem to work that well for me. What I should have done was go for the blue line, but only partially, get the casualty replenishment rate, and then focus on getting the full yellow line, which makes the heroes themselves better at combat. By the end of this campaign, I noticed that Alberic, with his full buffs, is an absolute monster, and he can assassinate targets way easier. Had I known that, I would have made him a better fighter instead of going for what I did. Now, the argument about the red light. I know that you can get buffs for your knight units, but they weren't that impactful, especially the charge bonus. I couldn't really charge in my battles because once I charged a unit into another, most of my models were stuck in that unit and they just couldn't get out, which made it so if I tried to force disengage them, they would take a lot of damage and they will eventually die. As for the heroes, obviously for those that were campaign agents, I went for the blue skills like assassination, steal technology, block army, etc. And for those embedded in the army, it was the yellow line for the melee combatants and the magic line for the damsels, and everything else afterwards. Oh yeah, I forgot about the Green Knight. He's a special hero that you can get by reaching certain thresholds of chivalry. He's an okay unit in the game. His real name is Gilles Le Breton, and he's a very well known hero in Bretonian lore. But as for this campaign, he wasn't all that useful. Hello, Future Icrom here. As I said, after that point the campaign started becoming really boring and it was just me pressing enter and capturing one settlement, then maybe fighting another army and stuff like that. There wasn't anything of note that happened. So instead of boring you and wasting time by showing all that kind of crap, I'm just gonna tell you how I won and I'm gonna show you the final battle of the campaign. After those fights with the lizard people, I conquered their entire territory and then I sent Alberic to Sartosa and started working on Gorbat's territory, which has become an absolute menace. Like, look at this. In order to get the 60 settlements needed for the victory conditions, as shown here. For the chivalry, it was just a matter of time before I get enough. I also finished the technologies that I talked about earlier, which gave me a good boost of chivalry. And for the settlements, I did recruit two armies, if I can find them. Yeah, one is here. He was raising settlements on the left side of the Dark Elf territory, and the other is here. He was capturing settlements on the right side of the Dark Elf territory. I did make a lot of alliances and use the diplomacy, which made my game lag a lot because I was able to see a lot of the map. But yeah, that's pretty much what happened. And now, as the final battle of the campaign is about to begin, the Errantry War, I'm gonna give you my opinion about this campaign. All in all, it was a very hard campaign. I lost a lot of campaigns to achieve this, more than 20. To be honest, it was way more enjoyable actually finding out ways to survive those initial turns and figure out strategies on how to beat my opponents rather than playing the campaign in itself. If you want a challenge for yourself, definitely do this. It's a pretty good one, especially on higher difficulties. As for if I would do this again, no, definitely not. Not with Alberic at least. I want to play Bretonia again because I love the faction. So I will definitely make another campaign for Bretonia. Maybe a peasant only this time around. But that will have to wait. Quick note. This army is probably one of the best armies that Bretonia can field. The Royal Hippogriff Knights are just way too strong of a unit. Also cool cinematic shots that are missing from my videos, and I promise I will try to get more of them. I have something special planned for my next Warhammer campaign, and this time around it is gonna be Cathay. I don't think there will be any more disturbances, right? No, the video is ending, we're good, I think we're good. So as the end battle screen comes up, the quest completed, we get some money, we get some unit experience and chivalry, the achievements pop out, and that would be it. I'll see you on the next one.